Good morning. So today I am showing a few clips of Mercy and I's first off-lead round pen work. She had been pacing this side of the fence for about, I don't know, I'd say 10 minutes. You can see the trailer over there and I have another horse tied up to it. So what I decided to do was I'm just going to go over into that area of the arena and just kind of clean that space. She had not walked around the entire round pen or even noticed that I was even in the arena at all. She was just so concentrating on that other horse that she just couldn't even focus on anything else. And she's been like that her whole life. She was raised by a gelding who has some severe separation anxiety, and she kind of picked that up from him. Her mother passed away when she was a very young foal, and she was raised with this gelding. And so I just kind of took over this space just to kind of break her out of that repetitive. She almost gets like OCD about something, and she doesn't even acknowledge anything else. She's just in a reactive state, not a thinking state. And that helped a lot. As you see here, she's finally paying attention, and she saw me. And so then we started working on just gaining a little bit of connection. I do make several mistakes during this video, and which is fine. We're always learning and trying out different things, and some things work, some things don't. One thing that I learned from Carolyn Resnick was, it doesn't, as long as what you're doing does not hinder your relationship with your horse, then it's fine. Just keep going. You're going to keep practicing. You're going to keep doing things until you figure out what works best for you and what works best for your horse. So what you kind of do is you pretend that you have a lead rope on your horse, and what you're trying to do is pull that horse into your back so that they're following along behind you as if you have them on a lead rope. And so anytime she turns and comes into me straight forward towards my face, I'll send her away. Whenever she kind of curves around like she just did and comes right into my back, that's kind of what you're looking for. There's spotting flies. We're in the middle of Georgia. Summertime is pure tea hell, so that's what she's trying to do, is snap at those biting flies that are getting on her back. You'll see her do it several times. So we took a rest there, and then I asked her to come with me. She did not. She released, so I just went right back towards her tail end. So I'm not really driving her. I'm actually pulling her. And I asked her again, and she ignored it. So I went straight into her face and turned her back around. So again, I'm asking her to come around and get behind me, and just kind of the goal is there. She turned back into my face, so I just used my stick and string. As you can tell, she's a very reactive horse. It does not take very much energy at all to get a good rise out of her. Here I'm asking again, and she's ignoring. I wish that I had gone a little bit slower and just kind of let her find all this a little bit more organically and on her own. I'll work on that more next time. As a human, we like things to happen on our own time, and that doesn't always work out. But she did stand still here, and if anybody's been following Mercy's story, we all know that Mercy does not like to stand still. So I'm letting her stand here and rest as much as possible, because that's always a good thing for her, is for her to to be still. She decided to break, so I just started walking again. She's turning back towards my face, so I am pushing her back out and asking her to come back around behind me, which was nice. That I liked that. But she released there, so I just immediately turned right back around, went right back towards her butt. So hopefully you can start kind of seeing what it is we're looking for. And I asked again. She said no thank you, and so I just pushed her and drove her back away, and then started that feeling of pulling her back into the back of me. She turned towards me, so I turned the opposite way. So anytime she goes to look at me and give some sort of connection, then you want to try to release the pressure. And there she said no thank you, so I just went right back towards her tail end again. And there she went straight into my face, so I pushed her out and away. She went right back into my face. I used stick and string to push her out and away. Because the goal is not for her to come straight into my face, but to come in and just follow along right behind me. And she had gotten a little into that motion of repetitiveness again. And so I just kind of pushed her a little bit harder, just to kind of break that mindset out of her. And then she went back down to relaxing some. There she was like, oh, there she is. And as soon as she stands directly behind me and starts relaxing and is like starting to think now. And there she follows right behind me, and that is perfect. That's exactly what you're looking for. And so now by this point of this session, this whole session took probably about 30 minutes or so, the whole thing. So I have the halter now, and really what I want to do is just put her up. And I made a very big mistake right there. I went up to her to ask her to put the halter on. What I should have done is I should have waited for her to come up to me to put the halter on. Again, it's no big deal. It's not like it was the end of the world or anything like that. It just is what it is. I was ready to be done, and apparently she's not, so we're just going to keep going until she's ready to be done. And so I'm basically doing the same thing that I was doing earlier without the halter. I'm asking her to come into me and come up and ask to be done, and to let's put this halter on, let's go finish this session, let's go take us a break, get some water, eat some hay. And so she turned right into my face, and so I just kind of pushed her away. She went back into my face, I pushed her away. And again, I'm just pretending like that lead rope is hooked to her face, and I'm trying to draw her back into me is the goal. She turned in, so I turned away and gave her some release of some pressure. And there she started to, and then she was like, nope, I'm not going to. So she's starting to kind of catch the idea of it, but then she decided she didn't want to. So we went right back to moving. And sometimes you have to move Mercy around in different directions, because again, she will be one of those ones that if you put her in this round pen and just went after her with that stick and string, she would run for hours round and round and round until she was exhausted, but her brain would not be working. And that's a lot of the problems that a lot of people would do with these horses. They think they would just make them tired and how to fix it, but that doesn't really fix it. Actually, you're just building more endurance so that they can run even farther next time. But it doesn't engage their brain at all. And I like this technique a little bit better because it gets her thinking and starting to actually communicate with the person a little bit better than just mindlessly running and running and running. And so I asked her again. She said no thank you, so I went right back towards the tail. Then she came into my face, and so I sent her the other direction, sent her back the other direction. I had to do that a couple of times. Just because she had just gotten into that, like, I'm just walking, but there was no attempt at connecting. And here's this vase again. And she's standing still, so we were just chilling for a second. So there I asked her again, would you like to put this halter on and be done for today? Like, I'm good if you're good. And she said, nope, I don't. And I was like, okay, well then I guess we'll just keep going then. And so what I'm looking for is for her to realize that if she comes up and asks to put this halter on, we can be done and we can go back over to that other horse and we can go, eat some hay and we can go relax. But she's got to make that call. And she's, starting to get that now. She's starting to pay a little bit more attention to the person. She's like, hey, what are you doing over there? Instead of just mindlessly trying to find a way back out of the situation without talking to me about it. And it was off, but there she turned. She was like, okay. And then she starts following into me, and I could tell by her energy that she was ready. She was like, okay, I would like to. I understand what you're saying now. Can you please get this fly off my back? And let's go take a break. So that's just some of the highlights of our first session. Again, the whole thing took about 30 minutes or so, I would guess. Not too awful long, nothing bad. And I can't wait to see how the next session goes.